Well, the media portrays women in a way that's not in a positive light. And I think that this is something that saddens me, that in 2011, that we've gotten to a point where we have regressed from a point 5 or 10 years ago. The entertainment factor today with both men and women is so high that people can't distinguish from fact and propaganda. How is it possible today that so many people know so much about Charlie Sheen and know so little about the workings of the government? That, to me, is something that's despicable on the part of the media.
Women can do anything men can do, except math, chess, running, jumping, lifting stuff, fixing things, making money, hockey, surfing, driving, making decisions, being tall, taking out the garbage, tipping, fishing, being funny on purpose, reading a map, listening to good bands, writing, running the country, inventing anything important, or being fun to hang out with.
I think that both genders are portrayed negatively most of the time on a lot of entertainment shows. This says a lot about the writing for the shows today in 2011. Yes, you have to write to the common denominator of people that are out there, but I really believe that a lot of shows are written in a way to just really examine the emotions of people.
If there's a market for it, then who are we to try to change, what people want? So there's a supply and demand. If that relationship exists, then obviously all parties are, consensual in digesting the content and providing the content.
So supply and demand. I would say that just because there's supply for something does not mean we should supply it if it's not sending the right kind of message about the way to inform gender relations. I don't know if that's a valid excuse for these kinds of messages, because I think they can really be damaging, especially for young girls.
I would indict the national press and the national media for allowing this to happen. They don't do a very good job of reporting the news, and this is an indictment of the type of journalism that's being produced now, especially on television, but all across the media.
The media is so vast. Whenever anybody says the media, it's such a humongous conglomerate of all different things that it's hard to just make generalized statements about the media. I mean, there's so much research going on. It's so organic and nebulous. How do you even pinpoint what's happening in this humongous thing called the media?
Oh my God. You're not wearing underwear.
Of course I'm.
Skirt that tight, you got no secrets. Skirt that tight, I can tell if you got an IUD.
The IIT is the implicit association test, and basically we had our participants do the Women in Careers one, which measures their unconscious implicit associations with either women with career or men with career and women with home, or they could have neither, or maybe their results didn't indicate anything because they were so assorted. Our hypothesis was that media, such as the music video that we showed that kind of objectifies women or shows them in objectified in that kind of a light, would impact the IAT.
So basically this experiment took part in 2 different phases, and for the first part We used level 2 American History juniors, and they were 2 classes of juniors, and we made one class the control group and the other the experimental group. So basically in the control group, we had them just take the gender career IAT and then report the results. And for the experimental group, we first showed them the Heidi Montag video clip, and then we had them take the IAT. And then to get more participants, we put out a link on Facebook, and to distinguish between the control and the experimental groups, we had people whose birthdays were from January to June watch the video and then take the gender career IAT, but then the rest of the people, we had them just take the IAT. We chose the Heidi Montag video because we thought that in this video, Heidi Montag was basically projecting herself as a sex symbol or as an object to satisfy male desires. And we thought that this would make participants more likely to associate women with a passive role, such as, being in the household or the family.
You and me are one in the same. It's the one thing that they can't change. Whoa, whoa. You and me in it for the ride. I'll take the drop if you're by my side. Whoa, whoa. I'm hearing them saying we're wrong for each other. I'm taking my chances for worse or for better. Why can't they see? Some things are meant to be. Like up the satellite, but should we want to? Let's get invisible, boy, and if you want to, 'cause somewhere no one can find us, we can get out of here.
You hire beautiful girls, enslave them, force them to be around you because you don't know how to have an actual relationship. If they're qualified, keep them. If not, fire them and ask them out.
All right, so our hypothesis is actually totally wrong. We were really surprised to see that watching the music video actually didn't change a whole lot of results in the various categories, except for the category of viewing women with career and men with family. The respondents who had watched the music video beforehand were actually more likely to associate women with powerful career roles, which we found really surprising. But in terms of sources of errors, we actually didn't think about this before we did the experiment, but the fact that me and Kathleen were administrating the experiment and giving the instructions could have I guess impacted their perception of women in power positions because we were telling them what to do. Also, I guess the fact that when we did the experiment in the rooms with the classes that came in, they were talking around with their friends or yeah, I guess that could have, because they were joking around, they weren't taking it seriously, I guess that could have caused some sources of error as well.
Whore! Not you. Just something I say whenever I'm pissed.
The general understanding by the public is that the media affects its consumers. That's what we've traditionally known and what we traditionally understood. We can reference Bandura with his observational learning theories. That humans have mirror neurons that actually, affect our behavior, where teenagers will play violent video games and then maybe that violence will turn into their actual behavior. But we never really look at sexist media in the other way. What if consumers are actually affecting the media? It's just like the economy. It's a supply and demand market. And when there's a demand for some kind of humor, and if that's sexist humor, it will be in the media. No one's making the media put this in. And granted, if no one wanted to put it in, then it wouldn't be there anymore, but it's obviously still there. And women tend to think of it as that we have regressed over the years, that we're going back into a sexist lifestyle. But I feel like that itself is just untrue, because it's kind of the in-group bias of women, because men are just as much portrayed in a negative manner as women. And maybe it's because it's more sensitive to women, but for men, we kind of tend to shrug it off. And over 100 years, we've actually advanced greatly in terms of the way we treat women in the media. I mean, in the 1950s, yes, it was still that idea of really conservative thoughts, like we're not even allowed to have women sleeping in the same beds as their husband. But in the 1950s, we actually advanced a lot. Just the fact that, you know, in the show I Love Lucy, that Lucille Ball was actually in a major role, specifically in that time period, that's a huge thing. Also, we have today, I mean, look at Rachel Maddow. She has her own show. She's a very powerful political figure, and it just shows how much we've advanced, actually, and that we haven't really regressed. I mean, and women have a choice when it comes to the media. I mean, you're probably wondering, why are there women that are in music videos that are just dancing and showing themselves as a sex symbol? I mean, just look at Taylor Swift today. She's chosen to take that role of, you know, a great role model for children. But look at Heidi Montag in the other perspective. I mean, looking at Heidi Montag, she's dancing around on a music video, and a lot of people consider it very graphic. But she's chosen that path, and that is not something that someone would force upon her, because that's just not legal.
Women have been going through a more recent struggle, civil rights struggle, feminist movement struggle. So to have that be that recent, I mean, so they're going to be more sensitive. So they had, you know, all those bra burning and all those marches and back in like the 60s and stuff. So it's pretty recent, that struggle.
At first, women were there to entertain. I think at some point, probably around the 80s and 90s, women were taken a little more seriously by the media in terms of what they could do. I do think there has been a regression in the last 5 years by the media, going back to a time when women were again used, as I call this topic of a set piece, where even though we have many women who are giving their opinions and point of views on many different types of topics, I still feel that the media portrays women in a way that's not in a positive light.
Hey, no use running, little girl. First of all, bringing me a med student. Get your juicy bone. You get your juicy bone. You go yell.
No swelling, no tenderness, and I can hear that, House.
Thought it might help you relax.
Don't. Stop. Dwight. Dwight, stop. Dwight, stop. No. Oh, no. Stop. Oh, no. Yes. Take my rag. Okay. Like okay. That? Seriously. Okay. Huh? Okay.
Yes. I have a wig for every single person in the office.
Is this your card? Nope. Drab. Is this your card? Nope. I'll be right back.
Good job. Good job. Yeah. Yeah.